Hello everyone, once again welcome to From a Particular Point of View. I am Dale. For comments, questions, concerns, ideas, thoughts, whatever, email me at watercoolercomments@gmail.com or watercoolercomments@hotmail.com. So I know probably from the audios it's I'm still trying to iron out on the audio side. I'm trying to nail some stuff down, trying to fine tune things, and I know the video side, the audio side sounds okay as it's supposed to, but the video side, I'm thinking that maybe I'm looking for something more than my technology here has, so I'm still trying to, anyway. So for those watching an audio or a video, please forgive me, I'm still working on it. Anyway, with that, let's see. I guess immediately let's just jump into some quotes. The quotes, if you want to send in some quotes that are worthy, at least that you like anyway, please do so. These are quotes that I've either heard, radio, read online, or whatever, or otherwise. The first one here is from G. Michael Hoff. I'm not sure who that is, but it's quite a statement. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Seems like what we're into now. We're just trying to get our men strong again because your average soy boy, well, you get the idea. Anyway, Denzel Washington said, anything you practice you get good at, including BS. Very true. Denzel Washington also said, now I know he said that, I actually heard him say these, the audio piece or something, or video, whatever it was, but I think these were during graduation ceremonies, and I don't know if it was from a high school or a college, doesn't really matter, but he also said, if you don't read the newspapers, you're not informed. If you do read the newspapers, you're misinformed. Now, Mark Twain allegedly said, I have still not found any proof that says yes, he did say this, but it's something that he probably would say, I'm guessing. No amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. Theodore Roosevelt, again, allegedly said this. To anger a conservative, lie to him. To anger a liberal, tell him the truth. Zachariah, I believe, Tutu, Desmond Tutu's father, has said, don't raise your voice, improve your argument. Very nice. One I particularly enjoy, I like. 9 out of 10 scientists agree with whoever's paying them. And this one here is from a fortune cookie. My personal one, it's not just what they said offline, but I actually read this on a fortune cookie in this area. The wise learn from the fools. The wise learn more from the fools than the fools learn from the wise. And this one here is probably one of my favorites. It's allegedly Winston Churchill said it, but then, of course, again, I have found no proof that he actually said this, but it's cool to think that he did say this. If you're under 25 and not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're over 35, not a conservative, you have no brains. So yeah, I can agree to that, because I remember when I was 25, I was a lot more liberal than I am now. So I wasn't liberal enough to go marching in the streets and breaking laws and being an idiot, but I was liberal enough to where say, yeah, I can agree with the government paying me and giving me pot and giving me food and blah, 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 blah. Sure, yeah, it sounds great. Of course, nowadays, that's really not the case. Anyway, I'm going to bring that back up here again. Some news pieces again, because of the certain things that's happened over the last few days, and because of the holiday weekend. I didn't get quite the news that I wanted, and of course, when certain things happen, it pretty much blows out the rest of what's happening in the news. So, the one thing, I wrote this down because I heard this on the news. I don't remember. I think it was on CBS Radio News, and I don't remember if this was last week or this week. I don't really remember, but it doesn't really matter. This is one of those things where it's an over time thing. But I've heard that actually homeschooling is growing. More and more people are taking their kids out of public school and put them and homeschooling them. However, for this to happen, there has to be a parent in the house who can stay in the house, and a parent in the house who's actually working a job that is good enough to keep the other spouse in the house and raising children, teaching children, and whatnot. But so yeah, I'm not surprised, considering that how many public schools are trying to shove down the throats of children who are learning things that they shouldn't be learning. The LGBTQ stuff, transgender stuff, yeah, that's maybe for kids going into college, but when you're, kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, no, that is just wrong. And if they're going to if the school system's going to keep doing this, I hope they lose more and more students. I really do. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, another one, I guess Trump and Mondani had a meeting in the White House. Now, I didn't see the meeting, but a friend of mine saw the meeting, and I saw pieces of it, just like little quick video pieces, and I saw pictures of it, and I thought it was really quite interesting that the news made it out to be too big meeting of the minds. The mayor-elect of New York and Donald Trump, and they expected it out to be some kind of mental and verbal, beat down, or not a beat down, but just, something that should be at Madison Square Garden when the ropes or whatever, and just, and in this corner, wing, well, you get the idea. That's what the news put out to be. Well, the interesting thing is I watched, again, I only saw little video pieces, and I saw the pictures, and what I saw, a friend of mine over the Thanksgiving holiday was, the dinner, was asking me if I'd seen that, and I says, well, the only thing I really saw was Donald Trump sitting behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office like he owned the place. Just boom, confident, just sitting there, just, yeah, so, what? And I saw Mondani standing there like a bad kid who's in trouble and is going to see the principal. And he told me, yeah, that's pretty much how it was. It's like, oh my gosh. Because I thought about watching it, but it's like, do I really want to? I guess my friend was a little bit irritated how Trump was patting him on the back, patting him on the arm, like, good boy, nice guy, yeah, you're okay, I like you. And my first thought was, either he's changing a little bit, which I don't know if I like, or it's part of a game. Because Trump's not a dumb guy. He's actually pretty intelligent. And for him to, I don't see how he could bow to a socialist, to a communist socialist, to an Islamic, Muslim, or Islamic socialist. I don't see how he could do that. So I can only think that he could be putting him at ease, and not only putting him at ease, but putting his followers at ease, thinking, okay, maybe he's not going to be as bad as we think we are, so maybe he's going to try to hang himself. Here, you give him some rope, and he's going to hang himself, so to speak. That's, I guess, what I got from it. Again, the picture that I saw was a bad kid going to see the principal. And Trump just sat there, like I said, like he owned the place, just total control, and he just stood there and smiled and, look at me, I'm in the president's office, whatever. Anyway, another drug boat, I guess, was destroyed, and for some reason, the Democrats are defending the drug lords. I saw one of the videos of them boarding a drug boat, not destroying it this time. I don't know why, but I saw videos of it, and believe you me, the boat that I saw was not a fishing boat. If you want to count packages upon packages of, I've never seen a package of drugs. But I can only guess that with the way that boat was and the engines and where they were going. I mean, they're out in the middle. They're out in the middle of the ocean, no land in sight at all. And if they were going fishing, they missed some things like fishing poles and like tackle boxes. I mean, in the packages, could have been bait. It could have been, but I don't think so. But I think, yeah, I don't know when that boat was taken, but maybe they just had to do that just to keep the liberals satisfied. Again, it just blows my mind how Trump, who is the commander-in-chief of all the branches of the service, tells them, go take them out, and and he can legally do that. The Democrats go, no, how can they defend drug dealers? How can the Democrats defend, and liberals, how can they defend drug dealers? And I guess there's growing tension between Venezuela and the U.S. because I'm guessing to Venezuelans that drug ring, whatever's going on, it's like part of their economics, I guess. I mean, why else would a country defend drug dealing? I mean, I'm sure they're making lots of money. Maybe that's part of their economy, and they don't want to. And I don't know, but to me, it's just ridiculous. And to see, and that's what kind of blows my mind is, I think I talked about it before. The group of 9 Democrats. I don't think they're all Congress, but 9 Democrats, I think, and they're all military or FBI or something. And I guess the idea, because at first I wasn't quite sure, was it this because of ICE or was it because of what it was dealing with? And I believe I heard somewhere that they are protesting the use of lethal force when it comes to the drug boats. And my first thought was, they're opposing this? Are you serious? And what I thought was nuts was they're telling people, do not follow illegal orders. And my first thought was, as I said before, last week's podcast, as I said before as well, if the president, unless the president says, go murder that guy, if he's given up whatever, no, I give up whatever, and if or a child or something, then okay, because as I was a soldier, I still am, sort of, but if my commanding officer told me to go do something, in your heart if it's actually wrong. Unless you're a liberal, then everything's wrong. But I know, okay, when I go to go do something, if I was told to do it, and then if I see it's wrong, but then again, we're not supposed to be judge and a lawyer. We're supposed to follow the directions unless you see something obviously wrong. And Trump's job as commander-in-chief is to protect the people and to protect the borders. That's what he was doing. But all these people were telling people, hey, don't follow the orders, don't follow the orders. That's illegal. You can't do that. That's treason. You can get hung. You can get shot for that. And I kind of wish they'd bring that back. I'm thinking if they brought back more public hangings and public shootings, perhaps people wouldn't be so whining and crying and everything. It's just ridiculous. And speaking of that, as of course you probably heard, I don't know if it's any relation to it at all. And there was a gentleman, I use the term very loosely, Trump called him a monster. And I can deal with that. Shot and killed 2 National Guardsmen in D.C. I heard on the radio when I was coming home Wednesday night, the same day it happened. I was told, I think it was one of the guys on the radio, and I forget who it was. I think it was on Mark Levin's show, but they had a fill-in. He had a guest host in there. And what blew my mind was that I guess what happened is that he had a pistol, and he pulled his pistol out, and he shot the female guard member. I don't remember her name. He shot her. She fell. And then I guess he took her rifle and shot her in the head, which is despicable, awful. And he took that rifle and began shooting other people. And I guess one other guardsman got shot, injured, before others could take him down. Once they did take him out. I mean, so it's like, it's good that they take him down, but to me, he just deserves a firing squad. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, isn't that what they do I don't, I guess the amazing thing was that he was actually an illegal alien. He had a visa that he overstayed. He's from Afghanistan. And what blew my mind is like the next day or two after that, I went on X and looked around, and all these liberals are saying, no, hold on. We don't want to enforce Islamophobia, okay? He's Islamic. He's from Afghanistan. We don't want to enforce Islamophobia. No Islamophobia. No Islamophobia. Then they said, wait a minute. This is Trump's fault. If those troops weren't there, she would never got shot and killed. And it's like, liberals can't seem to understand that it's, yes, there is Islamophobia. I don't fear it necessarily, but it's like it's taken over the country. I mean, look what happened in Dearborn, Michigan. I think if you go there, as I understand, I've seen pictures and videos of it, and the whole town is one big Islamic cell. I understand they're doing the same thing in Texas. Is that in Texas, Islam is, or Muslims, whatever, are taking over a small city in Texas and just turning everything Muslim. I mean, to my understanding, from what I've talked to some people who have connections with that, is that to Islam, Sharia law, whatever, their end game is total world domination. So I know I've discussed this before about that and how it works to my understanding from what I've been told, and it's just ridiculous. So, to me, if it was me, I would have said, if you are from that part of the world, you're out. Everything's getting canceled. I don't care. You're out. Visas earned no matter what. If you're a citizen, American citizen, and you've proved yourself worthy, then okay. But other than that, yeah. So pretty much we just lost a patriot, a National Guards person, and as I understand it, the other one is hanging on by a thread. So prayers to him and his family. So anyway, with that, yesterday was Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving dinner. Again, a piece of X, Twitter, whatever, I think later on that night, and I actually saw people, I am not going to celebrate that patriarchy, capitalistic, animal killing, animal eating holiday, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, well, it's not about that. It's about giving thanks for what you have. But then you realize that a lot of liberals are atheists or satanic. And to them, trying to give thanks to a being that, a deity that gave them everything, well, they don't believe in deities anyway, kind of gods, so they wouldn't want to do it. That's why I was thinking about this, I think it was last night. It's like, the liberals have an entire year to celebrate trans, gay, everything. But yet, this is one time of the year where Christians get to celebrate their faith, and they still go crazy over it. It just, I don't know, it kind of blows my mind. But anyway, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, no matter what you had. As I understand it, a few years ago, we had some family members over here, and because the gentleman was from the East Coast, I guess we had crab legs for Thanksgiving. It was the meal. It's like me being from Alaska and living over in Oregon. It's like crab legs. What kind of person does that? But of course, we had wonderful turkey. It was great, and the fixings to go with it. Had family and friend over, and it was. So my Thanksgiving was great. However, now we're going to go on and give, of course, we've got to give thanks to God for the Thanksgiving. For no matter if you had a huge dinner at a family or friend's house or whatever, or if you just could scrap together a couple of Vienna sausages, maybe a loaf of bread, it doesn't matter. You give thanks for everything you have. Even if you're homeless, what little things you have, or if you're in a shelter, you give thanks. I mean, you have life, you have breath, you have clothes, I presume. So that's one thing we have to think of. So no matter if you have the money of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, or if you're homeless on the corner asking for spare change, no matter what, you are blessed. So whether you think that way or not, that's too bad, because that's my podcast. I say how I want. Anyway, my friends, next we're going to go here and And Rush put up I guess he's done this before. He tells the true story of Thanksgiving. And I hope this sounds okay to the video part. The audio part should sound okay too, but this is almost 9 minutes long. But this here is the true story of Thanksgiving from the late great Rush Limbaugh. So let's listen in.
Time for the traditional true story of Thanksgiving, written by me in my second bestseller, 2.5 million copies in hardback. See, I Told You So. Chapter 6, Dead White Guys, or What the History Books Never Told You. The true story of Thanksgiving. The story of the Pilgrims begins in the early part of the 17th century. The Church of England under King James I was persecuting anyone and everyone who did not recognize its absolute civil and spiritual authority. Those who challenged ecclesiastical authority and those who believed strongly in freedom of worship were hunted down, imprisoned, and sometimes executed for their beliefs. A group of separatists first fled to Holland and established a community. After 11 years, about 40 of them agreed to make a perilous journey to the New World, where they would certainly face hardships but could live and worship God according to the dictates of their own consciences. On August 1st, 1620, the Mayflower set sail. It carried a total of 102 passengers, including 40 pilgrims led by William Bradford. On the journey, Bradford set up an agreement, a contract, that established just and equal laws for all members of the new community, irrespective of their religious beliefs. Where did the revolutionary ideas expressed in the Mayflower Compact come from? They came from the Bible. The Pilgrims were a people completely steeped in the lessons of the Old and New Testaments. They looked to the ancient Israelites for their example. And because of the biblical precedents set forth in Scripture, they never doubted that their experiment would work. But it was no pleasure cruise. The journey to the New World was a long and arduous one. And when the Pilgrims landed in New England in November, they found, according to Bradford's detailed journal, cold, barren, desolate wilderness. There were no friends to greet them, he wrote. There were no houses to shelter them. There were no inns where they could refresh themselves, and the sacrifice that they had made for freedom was just beginning. During the first winter, half the Pilgrims, including Bradford's own wife, died due to starvation, sickness, or exposure. When spring finally came, Indians told the settlers how to make corn, fish or cod, and skin the woods.
So that's I clicked it too many times. So that is not quite what I expected, but it's interesting because I did hear, I've heard before from people that well, we had socialism and communism during during the Pilgrims, and as he mentioned, I've heard before in books and all that, it's like, well, that didn't work because if everybody didn't own everything, just put everything in a big old pile, then some people just didn't want to work. They just sat there and did nothing, just ate, and people who were busting their behinds, they maybe didn't get as much or something, or at least they worked for it and the people didn't. So anyway, it's a piece of Thanksgiving information there from I guess that Rush had the means to research this stuff. I'm guessing he did. Today, I was going to play Arlo Guthrie's Alice's Restaurant. I guess it's a Thanksgiving staple. I've done that before in earlier podcast a couple years ago, until I read about Arlo Guthrie a little bit, and he is a bit of a flip-flopper. He varies between well, it's like it depends on how it goes with the different parties and his political beliefs at the time. I guess he was kind of left-leaning, and then at one particular time he registered Republican, and I think he never really did say who he votes for. But I think in 2008 he registered Republican. I think the last time they mentioned about it on I think Wikipedia, which again Wikipedia is hit or miss. They even said something like he was in favor of Rand Paul. I don't know if he voted for. He's in favor of Rand Paul, and right there is like But then he also is in favor of Bernie Sanders. So he's I guess independent, leans to the left a little bit. But I don't choose to play that because anybody who's not right leaning, anybody who's not conservative. I just don't care. Besides that, and I don't never understood why Alice's Restaurant was a staple for Thanksgiving, because there's nothing in that song or that little story that mentions Thanksgiving or about lots of food or giving thanks. It just, I know I heard it the first time, it's like, what? Whatever. So, and I still say that, and especially to him. So anyway, my friends, again, I trust you had a very pleasant, Thanksgiving. I know I did. It was very nice. So again, if you want to email me, watercoolercomments@gmail.com or watercoolercomments@hotmail.com. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and do the blessing as we do the last several podcasts. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. That's Numbers 6:24-26. And finally, may the grace of the Lord Jesus and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. 2 Corinthians 13:14. Until next time, have a great holiday. I might take a break here later on in the month or two, so you might not hear from me in a few weeks or something. I don't know, but have a great holiday and enjoy the time with your family and friends. And I don't know if I'll do this next week. I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of rocky. So have a wonderful day. God bless and take care. And I'll see you next time. Yes, I'm Dale Hummel. From a particular point of view. Have a great day.